When is the best time of day to answer your work emails? I would say never, but Elite Daily would say between 12 and 4 p.m. They spoke with Brooklyn-based holistic life coach Caitlin Margaret, and she gives the following tips that I want to discuss with you guys today about answering work emails and how you should or shouldn't do it. First tip is don't wake up and immediately look at your emails. It's natural to want to respond quickly, but it's a short-term reward system that can hijack your day. It's a lot harder to focus and complete the tasks you really wanted to do after you've been just responding to emails for 2 hours. It pulls your mind all over the place. So she says the best time of day is in the afternoon between the hours of noon and 4 p.m. So you got that 4-hour window to do it. And she sets up some recommendations for a system. Generally, I suggest working on your email in 20-minute intervals, set a 20-minute timer, then close the email browser so you get to focus on your deeper tasks.
Sounds like a lot of work.
That sounds like a lot of work to respond to emails. Do you guys have a system for responding to emails?
I had a system. I do have a system. I respond, and so the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is not answer any emails unless they're really pressing. Because if you're getting an email from someone in New York, they're 3 hours ahead. So you want to make sure everyone works on a different time schedule. But she's very right. The tone of your day is set by the first things you do in the morning. So if you're immediately attaching yourself to emails that could be pressing, or even social media, that's gonna set the tone for the rest of your day. And people don't believe that, but I am living proof that it does. And I knew I had a problem when I got my first BlackBerry back in 2007 because they're just readily available. Yeah. And you have alerts and you have lights blinking, and so you're constantly being indirectly forced to react to that activity.
I'm a pretty anxious prone person to begin with, and like last year I was losing my mind because I was so obsessed with my emails. First thing I would do when I would wake up, I would wake up and look at my emails, and then I would be looking at it throughout the night. But then I started implementing kind of a system of no more emails, no more phone, like after 8 p.m. or something. And don't even check it in the morning until like you're heading out. And it has changed my life. I'm happier, I'm just better off overall.
I hear that, but what kind of bothered me about how they broke it down is that when I worked as an assistant, I would have loved the luxury of not answering emails, but I would have lost my job so incredibly fast. And I would wake up to astronomical numbers of emails, like upwards of 70 emails from overnight, because I was organizing someone else's schedule and I had to work on their stuff and whatever. But I think that it's nice to think that you could do it in 20-minute blocks and only between the hours of noon and 4 p.m. But I think a lot of people work in fields where unfortunately, you're on the clock from 9 until let's say 7, and you have to respond during those hours. It's just inexcusable. I think that don't check emails while you're driving. Don't check emails while you're in a conversation with someone. But I think you still have to find a balance to be efficient and good at your job and do your tasks. You garbage man to the left of me. But I think that there has to be some sort of a balance. You have to do your job.
Yeah, I mean, that was the point that I was gonna make, because I'm a big proponent of unplugging, right? I really do think that's really important. I try to do it around at like 8 p.m. I try to do it when I'm having dinner with people, when I'm with my family, and times like that. But I do think that there are pressing issues that you need to respond to. People depend on you and things like that. Like I get so many emails that are like, they need a response right then because they're time sensitive, and so you need to be able to respond then. I don't think there's anything, I actually that's the first thing I do when I get up is I respond to all my emails. So like usually people get emails from me at like 5 a.m. and I love that time because I feel so productive. And that's actually when I do most of my emails, because I'm like 5 a.m. I knock all my emails out, and then I go on with my day. And I actually like starting my day like that because I feel really productive, because then I was like, I just got so much done. It's not even 6 a.m. yet,
I think that a lot of people feel that way too, because it's the email and having email readily available on our smartphones, on our devices, is for that particular reason, to be productive. That's why they have these things. But what's even adding to that is, and people hate me so much because I'm such a bagger on social media, but now we have, in addition to emails, now we have also social media that's directly and correlates with that as well too, and that in itself is a sickness for people because. Yes, Hannah?
Yeah, continue.
No, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say that I think it can be sickness for some people like us who where their social media is their job. So like I don't check Twitter or Instagram because like there's a lot of like nasty shiz out there. But for some people, it could be positive.
Of course, and there's always a positive side to every story. But in the article, she says between 12 and 4. Well, mind you, by noon on any day, that's half the day gone. That's half the day gone. Yeah. So it's kind of, it's not realistic. I think that for your self audience, what you have to do is figure out a system like you did, Amir, that works for you. I still am going through a lot of anxiety with my email and social media because I text and drive. I know I shouldn't, and I'm getting better about it. I'm a lot better than I used to be, but I also answer emails when I'm driving too because we've become so accustomed to having these iPhones that make it so easy for you and make it so everything's so readily available for you to be productive that it's now hindering you. So it's just something you have to work on and you have to divulge your own system.
Yeah, I think it comes down to making your priorities clear. So let's use the example of when I was an assistant again. So there would be some emails that I had to respond to. A flight is leaving. We need to make sure that everything's on its way. So when I wake up, answer those emails, get them out of the way. And then maybe there is something to be said for the emails that are less of a priority, setting meetings that are a month in advance, that sort of thing. I don't need to introduce that stress into my life until until noon and I've had my coffee and I'm caffeinated up and maybe I'm eating something. And then, so I think there is some merit to what they're saying. I just don't think it's very practical across all job fields.
Right. Grace, there's also, I'm sorry, Anna, there's also another caveat to this that's affecting people is the instant gratification response. Like, okay, like Amir, I'll email Amir and I might not get a response for a couple of hours. Where some people interpret that, not myself, but some people interpret that as rejection. It's anxiety inducing because they feel if I've created a behavior with you, Grace, that I respond to you quickly, and I'm very, very good about responding quickly, and then I'm not, some people are interpreting that as, is he mad at me? Did I say something wrong? And so it creates this other element of low self-esteem, rejection, and anxiety, in addition to the stress you already have of answering the emails and partaking in the activity as well.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I think you need to remember that like everybody has a life. Like I texted you yesterday, you didn't text me back for
Wow.
No, but you were like busy and like,
Grace never texted me back.
I texted her last night too and she did not respond.
Okay, Grace. No, I think it's no, but like
I'm very bad with my phone.
But like I wasn't like offended. Yeah. I was like, offended. Grace is doing something.
But
that's
some people
normal.
do get offended though.
I know, I understand that, but people need to realize that other people have lives. Do you know what I mean? And that
and I also think.
But I want to just really quick. I want to go back to like the social media concept of it because I do think that is something that we like wake up and look at. And I was talking to a certain celebrity who receives like a lot of like backlash and stuff online, and he does it very interesting. Like he will always put out content on Twitter or Instagram, but he reserves like Wednesdays or Thursdays to go through his ads or to go through his notifications because it can be really, really taxing for people to see the comment. Like I put sort of like a controversial video out yesterday on the TYT Facebook, and like I received like a lot of backlash on my notifications. So I just like turned it off. Like I was just like, oh, this is too much for right now. I have a life and a job that I need to focus on. Yeah, so like on to the next.
It's like a conscious choice to like you said, introducing stress into your life. You don't want to introduce that stress into your life. I know working here in the videos we do here, you want to engage with your audience. You want to get feedback, and sometimes the feedback you get isn't, more times than not, it's not very positive, and that can have an effect on your overall well-being, your psyche, your mental. So you have to really resolve to what's important. Either do I want to let this run my life, or do I want to be a fleeting moment in my life?
Oh, I feel like we solved it. I think we
workshopped the shit out of this.
We workshopped it. Now you guys know exactly when you should answer your work emails. In the comment section below, what do you think about work-life balance, work emails? Do you like to do it in the morning? Do you have a system like what Hannah was talking about? Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and we will all see you next time on Pop Trigger.